Everybody, welcome. Welcome. First Agent Hub. This is our weekly coaching sessions, which I love, and I hope you're getting a lot out of these. And what's really cool about the small group coaching sessions like this is, we can definitely address things that you guys need work on. Like if it's something particular to a deal or particular to something about how you're feeling or a struggle that you're going with, we can literally dive deep on these, and you can walk away from this call with a solution or a new way of approaching a problem or a situation. So that's what I love about this. So if you're talking to any colleagues and stuff, have them join in. So here we go. We're talking about NAR, right? I mean, it is everywhere. If you're an active real estate agent right now, you are hearing it from all angles. It's coming at you from so many different places. And so I want to, stay focused, and I want to be able to have people continually be excited and be, energized, because right now, do you feel like all the news that is coming to us, is that energizing news? That's a question. Sherry's shaking her head. No, it's not energizing. Are you gonna say, oh, there you are, Sherry. Anybody else? Like, is it like all the news from the attorneys, from title, from training, from all the stuff? Is this like, oh man, I'm excited to get out there and sell real estate? Like, is that what we're feeling?
I'm still excited to be out there selling real estate.
Yes.
I just think there's so much confusion out
Yep.
there. And I think people are trying to tunnel vision focus
Mm-hmm.
specifically on the buyer. And it's a two-way street. There's a
Sure.
lot of focus that needs to be on the seller.
Yes.
So I think that there's two mindsets, right? So
Yes.
we have to focus our mindset, but I also think there's just a whole lot of education and clarity.
Sure.
And quite honestly, I just think it's a ridiculous thing that is has even happened
Mm-hmm.
because in some respect,
Sure.
because
Sure.
there was there really a need to point it out?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was there really a need to make a big deal about it? I don't
Mm-hmm.
think that there was,
Yeah.
but since they did, this is the path we have to face,
Yep.
right?
100%. We can't change the past. There's nothing we
No,
can do. That's over our heads. We have zero control over that. It has happened,
right.
and here we are facing the
Yeah,
changes, that we're going to have to either embrace or get out of the business, because it's a requirement now. Like getting buyer broker
right,
agreement signs, it's a requirement, right? Not having the MLS commissions on not having the commission on the MLS, it's now a requirement. So those things we can't change. So let's focus on what we can change. Before I get into the real meat and potatoes of the coaching topic that we're going to be talking about, I do want to just give you like a 5-minute overview. I had an awesome conference with the Campbell Group, and I presented for their team meeting the other day, and we had some really big takeaways throughout that coaching session and everything. One of them is, guys, it's energy. Our energy, it's never lost. It's transferred or it's transformed. Why am I talking about energy for real estate agents? Because every conversation we have, whether over the phone or in person, every type of communication contact we have with our clients, we are either uplifting their energy or we're drowning them. So what I mean by that is, if we're not right in here, in our hearts and our minds, if we're not clear, they're not going to be clear. If we feel the NAR thing is confusing and fearful, and oh my gosh, are they going to commit to me, and all these worries, guess what? They're going to feel that. And so I believe the big difference maker in this entire training about the whole NAR situation is not external. Yes, we have to learn new protocols. Yes, we have to learn new forms. Yes, there's going to be a different way of doing our business. Great. Learn it, get it behind you, get used to it. Remember, repetition is the mother of all skill. The more we do that, the easier it becomes. But I say the most impactful things is ourselves. And how are we going to show up in light of the NAR settlement? So I like to call this is navigating the real estate world post NAR settlement. As a matter of fact, I got a mini program coming out, just like the 10 days to a contract. And we're gonna have a book as well that you can get on Amazon. And it's all about navigating the real estate world post-NAR settlement. Would you agree? It's a different landscape, right? So how do we navigate that? And the book isn't going to go into all the details of, hey, it's this form and it's this, it's this retainer amount. It's not that at all. I mean navigating it up here. How does an agent navigate the real estate world post-NAR? And it starts with you. So here's the big takeaways from my presentation with the Campbell Group yesterday is number one, the transfer of energy. If we feel it's complex, if we feel it's confusing, if we feel it's hard, guess what? Your contact, your communication, your connection with your agents, they're going to feel that. So what do we have to work on? We have to work on ourselves. The best thing you could ever do right now is get comfortable and really have peace and excitement about the NAR settlement and what that means in your business. More importantly, Mary, Eli, Sherry, what that means to the opportunity of success in real estate that you could truly experience right now. That's the big thing. So there's two big takeaways I wanted to share with you. Number one is keep it simple. They're trying to confuse us with all this stuff with the NAR settlement and all these changes. And I mean, even the buyer brokerage agreement, protection period, commission rate, retainer fee, like all this stuff. Like, oh my gosh, it's confusing. Guys, I keep it simple. I've had these conversations already with my buyers and my clients, and I've been having these conversations for a while now. Is I keep it really simple. Sherry, ask me if I'm sitting down with you right now. Ask me. I'm in a buyer's consultation. I'm going to role play with Sherry. Sherry,
Mhm.
I'm going to go ahead and get to this section about the NAR settlement and the buyer brokerage agreement. And you've seen some things on the news, so let's just role play. All right.
Okay,
So
sure.
Sherry, we've kind of been through the buyer's consultation. We have a good idea of what you're looking for. I'm excited to start working with you. Do you have any questions right now before we move forward?
Um, so with this settlement, Andrew, does that mean that me as the buyer that I'm responsible to pay your whole commission, your part of your commission? So what does that mean for me?
Sherry, that is a great question. I'm glad you brought that up because I want to address it because you've probably seen on the news and people talking. There's a lot of information out there, right? So
Yes,
I'm going to break it down for you, Sherry. The NAR settlement, it's happened, and there's really two changes, and I'm going to keep it really simple for you. Number one is the commissions that a seller typically cooperates with other agents won't be visible in the back end of the MLS. Sherry, that does not impact you at all. That doesn't
got
impact you
it.
at all. Okay. The
Okay.
second thing is it is now a requirement for you to go out and see any houses that we would have to have a buyer brokerage agreement signed. Before that wasn't a requirement. That's something I've done for my history of real estate. If I'm going to work for you, we're going to have an agreement and sign. So that's the only other change. And so those are the two big things. And the benefit of the buyer brokerage agreement is now formally you're committed to me and I'm 100% committed to you and you're giving me full access to really go to work, be able to send you properties off market, on market. I can show you properties, and that's the biggest thing. But I definitely want to, so I'm going to stop right there, time out on that role play. How do you feel, Sherry, about the NAR changes?
I feel very comfortable about it. That's very simple.
Perfect. So I'm not role playing right now, but I'm doing this for you guys. Is the first thing is the commissions aren't visible in MLS. What did I say? Sherry, that doesn't impact you at all. You're not
No,
even an agent. You can't even go back in the MLS. I didn't say all
right,
that, but the way I
right,
framed it is it doesn't impact you as an agent because that's the truth. It doesn't impact Sherry. Whether
right.
the commissions are visible on the back end of MLS or not has zero impact on Sherry. She's not looking at that stuff. She never did. She never could. So I put that to bed. And then I dealt with the other one, the buyer brokerage agreement. I said it's now a requirement for any buyer. If they want to go see a house, any buyer is now going to have a buyer brokerage agreement form signed with an agent. That's a requirement. And here's the benefits of it. Finally, there's something formal that gives me full access to really go to work for you, Sherry. And yes, and vice versa, as I'm fully committed to you, you're going to be fully committed to me. I kept that real simple, right? So those are two things.
Yes.
But I'm not going to sidestep Sherry's main concern. Remember, I was level 3 listening, everybody. What did Sherry? She's like, oh, am I going to be responsible for paying the commission? I never want to sidestep any of the questions that or concerns that buyers have. I dealt with it directly. First of all, step one is I clarified what the NAR settlement was. Now I'm going to go back into the role play. All right, Sherry, I'm going to go
Sure.
back into the role play and I'm going to deal with your specific concern.
Okay.
Sherry, so does that make sense in regards to the NAR settlement? Those two things, one of them doesn't impact you at all, and the other one's actually a great benefit for us working together. Does that make
Oh,
sense?
yeah. It
Perfect.
makes complete sense.
Perfect. Sherry, and then, I also heard when you were saying, there's a concern that, you might be on the hook for paying commissions. Is that right?
Yes, that was
Okay.
that was
Yeah,
a question.
totally. And Sherry, that's a valid concern. So let me give it to you straight. I'm gonna make it really simple on you. So over 90% of real estate transactions involve two agents, cooperating agents. Okay. Commissions have always been negotiable and part of the contract. It's just as part of the contract. So just because of the NAR settlement, it doesn't mean that the sellers aren't offering commission. If 90% of them, if 90% of the homes are sold by agents, there's some sort of commission involved with a cooperating agent. I can promise you it's not in the seller's best interest to not cooperate with buyer's agents. As a matter of fact, it's in their best interest because the buyer's agents are the one with all the buyers and they want to sell their home, right? That makes sense?
Right. That
So
makes
I
sense.
want to really rest your concern is that, I'm going to be very transparent with you. And, we will know what the commissions are on every single house before we even see it. Again, take into effect, 95% of the homes that we're going to be looking at are going to be offering some sort of cooperating commission to pay my fee for you. Now, the slight 5% chance that might not offer the commission or offer a partial commission, guess what? We're going to have a conversation about that. We'll know well up front before we even see the house. And then that's when you get to see me shine because that's when I really can negotiate that, just like all the other terms in a contract, right? We negotiate price, closing
Yeah.
date, inspections, financing, commissions, the same thing. And so that's where you get to really see me shine. So I just want you to rest assured that in the midst of all these changes, I'm going to be fully transparent with you. And as a matter of fact, I'm even going to I'm going to be like working even harder for you. And the most important thing, I'm going to dial it back to Sherry for I'm going to tie everything back to why she needs to sell that house. And Sherry, just like you said, the most important thing is for you and Doug to get down here to Florida from Michigan and get settled. And, that's our goal, right? And that's what we're
Mhm.
going to focus on. Here's the agreement.
Love it.
How do you feel, Sherry?
I feel great about
You feel
it. I
great.
mean, it really eases my concern.
Okay. Do you feel and did everyone feel the transfer of energy from me to Sherry in this role play? Like, do you feel the energy? It's
Oh
it's
yeah.
not
I
it's
mean,
not it's not a bad thing, right? I mean, it's like
no.
it is what it is. Let's move forward. Let's keep it simple. Let's
I
communicate.
think
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I was just going to agree with you. I think keeping the focus on what their needs and wants are
Hmm.
versus that, like, what, and just addressing that it's always been in the seller's best interest and to cooperate and their, buyers or brokers are bringing the buyers and et
Mm,
cetera. And we're always going to look at it. But I mean, it truly is just not being visible and knowing before you go. And
absolutely.
then, and then just agreeing to, to work together. I
Yeah,
mean, I really think that those are two really great focus points. And when you
sure.
focus on those, I think the other will just fall into place. I really do.
Yeah, I totally agree. And a good quote is what you focus on expands, right? What you focus on
Yeah,
expands.
true.
Let's just think of this in a different term. And it's true, over 90% of transactions that are done involve another cooperating agent. That is a fact. That is a fact. Okay. That's why builders cooperate with agents. They don't sell necessarily always direct. They cooperate with agents. They even give bonuses to agents. If over 90% works in our favor, meaning that they cooperate, why on earth would we make this huge stink about 10% or 5%? Because that's what the stink is about. Seller's not going to offer me anything. Like, why focus on the 5% when in reality it's the 90 or 95% that it's already being offered? Doesn't it kind of blow your mind that like the biggest NAR thing, people are afraid they're not going to get paid? That's not going to happen. 90 to 95% of the time, there's a cooperating agent involved and there's some sort of offer of compensation. So anyway, that's why I say focus what you focus on expands. You guys like that? So to recap,
Yeah.
my three takeaways from the Campbell presentation was number one, transfer of energy. That's huge. The more clear, concise that we are, that's how it's going to be received by our clients. Number two, keep it simple. Remember, two things. There's two changes. One of them is the MLS and the commissions in the MLS. That doesn't impact you at all. And number two is a buyer brokerage agreement, which is required. And it's a formal document that allows me to fully work for you. Those are the two big changes. I kept it simple, right? And then last but not least is number three. Guys, focus on what's real. What's real is over 90% of transactions are done with the cooperating agent. Why are we worried about the 5% or the 10% that may not cooperate? And if that's the case, kind of like you said, Sherry, we'll have total transparency. We'll know before we go. And that's where you can
Yeah.
watch me shine. Because that's where I'm gonna, that's where I negotiate that along with closing date, terms of the contract, purchase price, deposit amount, escrow amount, financing contingency, home to sell. Like it's just part of a negotiating tool. That's what you're hiring me for, right?
Hmm.
Awesome. Well, give me that chance to work for you, okay?
Got it.
You want to hire me?
Absolutely.
That's awesome. I wanted to share that with you. So now we're going to get into a really great technique that I learned probably 8 or 9 years ago. And it's a very powerful technique that we can use in regards to it's our own mindset. So I used this technique when I was coaching clients one-on-one. And this is for like everybody has a story, right? Like there's a story around NAR right now. What is give me a simple story around NAR, like what people are saying and stuff. Like what's the impact going to be to agents? We're gonna have to fight for our
That by
commission.
buyer broker, a lot of people are going to quit. People aren't going to want to work with buyers, and
Yep.
buyers aren't going to want to sign this. Attorneys aren't going to let them sign it. Just all of the negatives. But it's all of that as you said, is driven by fear or confusion because they
Yeah.
don't understand that this is not as big as it being blown out of proportion. As I mean, at least that's my impression of it. I mean,
Correct.
when you really dial it down and look at it and
Yeah.
know and understand what it's about,
Yeah.
I mean, sellers have, forever given. I mean, there was a small amount of time when I think sellers didn't give a whole lot of
Hmm.
seller credit or concessions or whatnot. But I mean, for the most part, even the builders have had to be creative in,
Absolutely.
with giving credits to buy down rates or, get the buyer qualified or
Sure.
whatever.
Sure.
And I don't think that that's gonna change or affect
Yeah.
anything. I
And
think it's gonna help.
and you know why it won't change? Did you know? I'm just give you a quick fact. If you were to compare the North American real estate market, how many sales, how many transactions, how much money is in flux, all the stuff compared to the European real estate market. Do you know how it is over in Europe?
Mm-mm.
It is where there's a listing agent and there's really not necessarily a buyer's agent at all. The buyer has to go direct. It's not set up
Oh,
like North America. But do you know why
interesting.
North America real estate is so bursting and there's so much? It's because of the cooperation. Because in Europe, it makes it so hard for buyers to have to go track down this listing and then have to go track down that agent with that listing. It just doesn't make it easy. Guys, our market's never going to be like that. There's always going to be cooperation, and I'm 100% certain of that. So anyway, thank you for that. So anyway, let's go back. So the story right now, and you wonder why all the news, 90% of it is fearful. Why do you think that is? Eli, why do you think 90% of the news is bad, fearful? Like, why is that?
Well, thinking about the way media works is that bad news and the scarcity mentality kind of grabs more attention,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel that's what the media is trying for almost everything that they publish. With the NAR situation, they put so much emphasis on
Mm-hmm.
these changes and the small percentage, like you said, like worrying about the smaller percentage of people who do transaction without collaborating agents, and then forgetting about the other percentage
Which is the
that
bigger one.
actually
Yeah.
use the exactly because the media wants to use that negativity because they know that attracts the mind, or at least attracts the mind that is looking for the negative. But we say what you start saying that about the energy
Mm-hmm.
for us that seek the positive energy, and that we know that we're gonna transfer that energy to our clients. Uh, that's how we make a difference.
Absolutely. So guys, so you said it, you nailed it, Eli. This is negative energy gets more attention, it sells more books, it sells more TV ads, it sells everything. Is the NAR thing about that? Absolutely, 100%. It is about that. So anyway, the overall story and the reason I wanted to go down this route, this path is, would you agree that the overall story agents could be telling themselves right now is that this is a massive change. I'm going to have to really fight for my commission. I'm worried that people aren't going to want to commit to me. I'm going to have more work to do because now I have to call the listing agent to find out what they're paying on the house. And God forbid, if they're not paying a commission, I'm going to have to now negotiate that. Right? Like, would you agree that's the story? Right? That's the story. Okay. And the story of that is the results of that story is a lot of people are going to be leaving the business. I'm going to get paid less. The a lot of people leaving. I'm going to get paid less. Real estate's just going to be hard. I'm going to get a lot more rejection. Like that's the result, right? I don't know if I can be in this career. Like I'm really flooding this, but like that's the story. Here's the changes. This is the impact, and the result is, oh my gosh, it's scary, right? That's the story that the media is really kind of putting out there and agents are feeling or like thumbs up. Like, is that pretty accurate? Pretty accurate. Okay. So guys, I'm going to teach you a groundbreaking coaching technique that is called rewinding the story. So what we do is we rewind the story. And what I love about the mindset coaching that I do is you don't just have to use this in real estate. It can apply to all aspects of your life. Just like the three levels of listening, pit far, like changing the story, all that kind of stuff. You can apply this technique in anything. And what I'm going to do is after this call, I'm going to go ahead and email out the rewinding the story script so that you guys can have it. You can print it out and then you can use it for whatever you want. So let's work through the rewinding. How about you guys agree? Let's rewind this story about NAR because I don't really like that story. So my first question is I start with the results. Based on this, what would I like to have happened in the end? I'm asking the question, what would I like to see happen in the end post-NAR settlement? Let's just hear because we're working on this thing together. I'm taking notes too. What would give me one thing, Sherry? Like, what's something that you would choose to want to have happen as a result of the NAR settlement?
Um, I don't know which way to focus here.
That's okay.
Probably just maybe more transparency in the cooperation,
Okay.
since commissions won't be listed, just
Perfect. Okay.
upfront,
Okay.
upfront.
Perfect.
Right.
That's great. I would also add, if I had my magic wand and post-NAR, navigating the real estate world post-NAR settlement, what would I like to have happen in the end? I'll tell you exactly. I'm crystal clear on it. I would like to have the ability to work with better people, less buyers that are fully committed to me, and not wasting energy and time with buyers that are not committed to me.
Yeah.
Like,
Having people commit upfront that are
yeah,
truly vested and interested and not just out there having
yeah.
fun on a weekend.
Because real estate's one of those worlds pre-NAR settlement is you could be working with 10 buyers, maybe two of those close, two of them left, or two of them don't make a decision. Post-NAR, I believe strongly that the commitment and the upfront and the transparency is going to cause that I'm going to be working with less buyers. I would rather not work with 10 buyers. I would rather be working with 5 buyers at a time, knowing that 3 of those buyers are going to go under contract in the next 90 days
Yeah,
versus
I agree.
10 buyers, knowing that 2 of them are going to go under contract within 10 days. Does that make sense? So
Mhm.
what my compensation is per buyer or per time or per energy goes through the roof. Would you agree? If I
Mhm.
can make the same amount of money but work with half the buyers, how much time am I buying back for myself?
And that's a whole lot of value.
It's priceless.
Mhm.
What does that time mean to me? I'll tell you what that time means to me. That time means I can be with my family more. I'm
Mhm.
not wasting my weekends showing 20 properties with buyers that aren't committed. Like,
Mhm.
and I can make the same amount of money by doing half the work. Oh my gosh, genius. Like, that's what I would like to see happen. So that's
Yeah.
the first question that I've asked. I put out the result. So based on the NAR settlement, what would I like to see happen in the end? So let's go with that one. Okay, you like that?
Yeah.
You guys like to make double the money, work half the time, and work with people that are committed to you?
Yeah. Have buyers easily commit.
Amen. Would you rather work with 5 buyers and sell
Mhm.
3 properties, or 10 buyers that are going to buy 2 properties?
The first option.
First one, all day long, 100%. So if that's the result I want, the next question is, what actions could have been taken to help make this occur? That's the question. I'll say it again. If I want this result based on the NAR settlement, this is what the result I want. What actions could have been taken to help make this occur? I'm going to ask it a different way too. What actions could have been done differently to obtain that result?
To be honest about what the settlement was, and just say that, you know, the the result of the settlement was that there will now be a requirement that all buyers, um, have to sign an agreement to work exclusively with an agent.
Yeah,
That's it. I
Sherry,
mean, that's
I
it.
love it. I love it. You're smart to be honest and be transparent, but I want more. I'm your coach. I want more. I need to make this significant. I want to know what actions it is going to take. From what actions do I need to take, or what actions could I do differently to get the result in the end? That's working with less buyers that are more committed to me and selling more homes and buying back my time, my freedom. What specific actions is it going to take to get that result? So that's what I'm asking. So I love your answer, to be honest and transparent. I agree. That is an action, but it's not the powerful action I'm looking for. I think we can
Mm.
go deeper. Eli, do you have any thoughts on what action could have been taken to make this result happen?
Oh, I'm thinking of one, and
Okay.
it's being clear with a value proposition.
Ooh, that's great. So being very clear with your
Clear
value proposition.
with a value proposition. What is the value? Because if we want to continue to succeed with the upcoming changes,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it is clear that if a buyer is gonna sign an agreement, we need to have the value proposition real
Concrete.
clear.
Yeah.
Yes, with
It's
confidence. Yes.
Yeah, that value proposition is in our DNA. It is,
Mhm.
it's not on a piece of paper. It is so vibrant within us, and we are so confident with expressing that value proposition. Bam. That's what I like. Here's another idea, guys. What if you are super clear with what kind of buyers you're going to work with? Well, that's an action. An action is I am only going to be working with these buyers. Now, what does that profile of that buyer look like? I'll tell you. You want me to tell you? They got urgency. They got urgency. They got to make a move. They're committed to me. They're committed to me. They're not 1 foot out the door. Maybe I'll work here. Maybe they're fully committed to me. I like working with them. Personally, I like working with them. Have we ever been kind of stuck with buyers that we don't really like to work with because they're very difficult? Well, guess what? That isn't a buyer profile that I really want in my real estate career. And you could set parameters from a pricing like this, like whatever you want, but that is an action. Like those are two very clear actions and powerful actions that say, hey, what actions could have happened or what can I have done differently to make this occur? Number one, be super concrete on your value proposition. Number two, know exactly what the buyer profile you're working with or you want to work with. And I would say number three, embrace everything we're talking about here with the change starts within. Those are three massive actions that can give me the result of, hey, I want to work with 5 buyers and I know 3 of them are going to buy and they're great people to work with and there's urgency on all 5 of those buyers and they're fully committed to me. Like that's the kind of business I want to run in real estate. Sounds good? You guys liking this so far? It's like this is like psychology at the highest level. We're like totally reversing like everything. We're literally unwrapping, unfolding, rewinding a story. And that's what's so powerful about this. All right. So we know what result we want. We know what powerful actions we need to take or do differently. The third question is, the third part is, what would you need to shift and how you see yourself? Let me read it. I'm sorry. What would you need to shift and how you see yourself or how you think of yourself for that to happen? Or how would you have to see yourself differently to make that result happen? So the third question, the third part of this rewinding the story is I've identified the result. I've identified the massive actions that I need to take in that. Third question is more of an introspective question. It's how do I need to shift and how I see myself today to do those actions and to get that result? What, any ideas?
Change the attitude.
Change the attitude. Mary, God bless you. You're amazing. Absolutely. We really got to change that attitude with regards to how we're going to approach post-NAR real estate activity. Also, with that, how are we shift ourselves? We need to shift, and we've talked about this before in other calls. What about our confidence? That comes with changing your attitude, like Mary said. If our confidence is high in our ability to do our job, our ability to communicate our value proposition, our confidence in our ability to, to provide service at the highest level, guess what? We need to shift ourselves. How do we build confidence in ourselves? How do we build confidence in ourselves for this? There's no right answer, but I just wanted to put that out there. How do you build confidence in anything? I'll share with you. You build confidence by repetition. That's why in the 10 days to a contract program that I wrote, do you know how many contracts you write in 10 days? Just to give you an idea, 28. 28 contracts you write in 10 days. I've designed the course that way because repetition is the mother of all skill. And so I guarantee it. And again, we're writing mock contracts to go on. But I promise you, after 10 days, You wrote 28 contracts. That's a combination of purchase agreements, listing agreements, and buyer brokerage agreements. Your confidence in your ability to write those contracts is absolutely through the roof. So how do we change how we see ourselves? Like Mary said, it's our attitude. But I would also say we need to see ourselves. We need to shift the confidence that we see within ourselves to be successful. And you do that through repetition because that's what builds confidence. Would you agree? What else builds confidence? Overcoming fears. Go out and get that first rejection on a buyer brokerage agreement. You're going to experience it. You've gotten it done. You know what it feels like, and now you can move forward. Overcoming fears gives ourselves confidence. Is that correct? So these give you steps. So that's number 3. So the first one, rewinding the story, is what results do we want in the end based on the navigating the real estate world post-NAR settlement? What are the results I want in the end? Based on those results, what actions could I have done differently to get those results? Third step, what would I need to shift in how I see myself to get those results? You guys following with me? Pretty cool stuff. So now the third part is the story. And I have 2 questions for this is next time we get fearful about the NAR thing, what could you tell yourself next time that happens? What could you tell yourself the next time you hear some fear or anxiety on the media or from another colleague, another agent? Or what would you be telling me about what happened if you had that result? Like what I'm doing on number 4 is I'm preparing myself to be able to handle and tackle the fear that is inevitably going to come. Because I'm going to say there's no blue pill. There's going to be media, there's going to be colleagues, there's going to be changes in the real estate market, and it's going to cause fear. I'm not saying that's not true. There is going to be fear there. But the point of this question is, what can I tell myself the next time that happens? The next time I hear, the next time I feel that fear? And so now this is a purposeful step in this process to say, hey, you know what? That media is going to be out there. People are going to be complaining. Other colleagues are going to be worried and come to you and how are you doing? Are you scared? That's going to happen. So we are being preemptive on this, and our message to ourselves. I'll share with you the message to myself is my message to myself is if someone came to me and was fearful and all that kind of stuff, be honest, I would educate them. I would educate them on this. If it's someone that is open to educating, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to start a conversation with somebody that's totally cut off from reality and stuff like that. But if it's somebody you care about, I would educate them. Next time I hear something on the media, you're going to say, I remember the coaching call with Andrew Haddad, how we rewound that story, the incredible opportunity that can come out of this. An opportunity, I'd say, that did not exist prior to the NAR settlement. So we whatever you need to do is like it could be activity. Like what do I tell myself is, hey, there's fear out in the world. It is what it is. But I'm aware of what I have in here. I have confidence, I have transparency, I have integrity, and I have trust, and I have commitment to this business. This is how I'm going to show up in light of the fear on the external world, because that's where that fear is coming from. You guys like that? All right, we got 2 more steps and we're done with the 10 days. Let's see, what time do we have? 12:41. Okay, we're doing good. So after we've kind of said the new story, tell me what could happen the next time this happens. We dive into the experience. What would you observe if this is the case? Or what would you be experiencing if you had that result? So now the question is going right back to validating the result that you want. I've got the fear, like the fear happened. I'm addressing, I have my way. This is my new story. No, I'm actually, the benefit I'm telling myself is I'm going to have to work half as much with half as many people and make the same amount of money. What would that feel like? This question's really diving into the experience. It would feel good. Would you feel proud? You'd be like, oh my God, this is awesome. I mean, do you guys agree with me? I'm not just like talking outside of my mouth of saying like, hey, in a perfect world, you'll be working with half the people and making half the time, half the people, and making as much or more money. I'm not saying, I'm not just throwing it out there. I absolutely believe that is true because of the post-NAR settlement, because of the NAR settlement. How would that feel? Man, that's going to feel awesome. You know, I've always wanted to start that side business that I've never had time to because I'm feeling bad about working weekends and I'm not with my family, or I've just been so bogged down with showing all these buyers, all these properties, and I just don't have any more energy for anything else. Or I feel bad because real estate is literally is consuming all my time and all my energy, and I just don't have anything left for my children, and I feel bad. Guys, the reality, navigating the real estate world post-NAR settlement gives us the opportunity to make a massive change, like the result that we ultimately want. Transparency, working more effectively, working with people we like, working with people that are committed to us. Buyer profile, urgency. It's, you know, I just choose if they're not ready to buy a house in 6 months or within 90 days, I'm going to be nice to them and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to focus on it. I'm only focusing on my top 5 people. And next, we're going to end with the end. And I ask this in 3 different ways. I say, what would you see visually with this new way of thinking? What would you hear? Tap it into my auditory senses with this new way of thinking. And what would you feel with this new way of thinking? So what I'm doing, I'm tying a big bow. I've rewinded the story. I've gone through all these steps. And at the end, I'm really making it concrete. That's going to apply to all my senses. What would I see? I would see a happier me. I would see a more profitable and more effective me. I would see more time spent with my children. I would see more vacations because now I have more money. I would see us buying that house that we've always wanted to, or at least on the right track to making that happen. What would I hear? I would hear my kids laughing because I'm spending more time with them. I would hear my colleagues in my office clapping because they're like, your attitude is so amazing. You're doing so great. Like you feel, you know, like, and then what would you feel? I would feel proud of me. I would feel a sense of relief that I'm not stressed out anymore. I would feel energetic because of the NAR settlement, this has finally given me an opportunity to shift how I see things, how I do things in the real estate business, and has opened up the doors to a new whole life post-NAR settlement. Guys, it's amazing. Goosebumps, mic drop. So that's the rewinding the story. It's a very powerful process. Does it take work? Yes. It's 2 pages. I don't know if I can get it on the video. No, you can see it. Okay, 2 pages, but I want to make it into 1 page because it's super easy. We rewind the story. What's the results that we want to see happen? What actions could we have done differently to make that happen? What thoughts, feelings, activities do we need to shift in how we see ourselves to make that happen? If what we're fearing happens, what could we tell ourselves next time? How can we be ready for this? Be prepared. What experience would we have or observe by the results that we're now getting? And finally, ending with what's the new, how would you see yourself differently with how you're changing this way? What would you hear and what would you feel? Very easy, very powerful. But would you agree some of the most powerful things in the world are simple? This is one of those techniques. And you can use it in any aspect of your life because rewinding the story is exactly that. We have stories built in. That's how our mind, our brain, that's how we connect to this reality, is we have an internal representation of what's going on. What I've just taught you today is how to rewind that story based on what you actually want. So now you're no longer a victim of your current story. You are empowered. You are empowered to not only rewind your story, but better yet, rewrite your story. So we're at 12:48. I want to be respectful on time. I want to open up to any questions pertaining to what we've talked about this last 30 minutes. Okay.
I don't have any questions, but I think that that's the empowerment is huge, and I think that it really does bring a big sense of relief because the buyers are going to have to commit. They have to.
Have
I
to.
mean, they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So it's going to bring about a sense of that sense of urgency and that sense of being committed and being serious and not just out there.
No looky loos.
Right.
Not on my watch.
Mm-mm. No.
Eli, give me a big takeaway on today's session.
Well, the big takeaway, I really like how you isolated from the client what actually affect the client between all these changes. I think that brings a lot of clarity when it comes to talking to buyers and sellers on appointments about what's going on. And it's isolating. This doesn't affect you, and this is what changes for you. That we need to sign an agreement for me to show you home, and that actually unlocks that clarity and expectation of what the client can expect from the agent
Mm-hmm.
and the duty that the agent has with the client. I think that that is huge.
It's
That is
powerful, right?
that's powerful.
I
Thank you
mean,
for sharing it that way.
is it, let me ask you this. I've made it so darn simple, right? There's two things. One of them doesn't even impact you.
Hmm.
The second one is actually a benefit to our
A
relationship.
benefit, yes.
Am I incorrect with any of that? Or is
No,
that spot on?
Spot
that's
on.
spot on.
Agreed. Agreed.
Spot on.
Now you're going to get the what ifs. Well, what if this? We've sat in the meetings together. What if this happens? What if this happens? Well, what's happening? People are scared and they're concerned. I'm not saying those are bad questions. They're very valid questions, but we cannot be consumed by the what ifs. We can't because it makes it confusing and fearful, and that does not serve us at a high level.
Yeah. And actually, when I think about it, if I can add this, before or up to now, people start showing homes or clients start visiting homes and meeting with an agent without really knowing the nature of the relationship. And now, with the agreement, they're going to have clarity. So
Thank
I
God.
believe like having that in place is going to eliminate a lot of the headaches clients have seen themselves. And if we explain that to the buyer, this is a benefit to you the way you said it,
Mm-hmm.
because now those moments of uncertainty or not having the clear expectation of how we work together are going to be clear because now it's in writing and this is what we go for. This is what I'm accountable for and it's on paper. You
Yeah,
have it in your hands. Before, buyers didn't have anything.
I
Now
agree.
you have it.
Now you have it. Well, here's what's so great about the new requirements. It forces the conversation that the majority of people don't have up front. If they're going to sign something, guess what? You're going to be talking about it. And how many times have we let a buyer in our car or ran out to a property to show property, not having that conversation? Guys, the benefits, and I'll end with this, far, far outweigh any type of fears or more work. It's just about how you choose, and I'll repeat that, how you choose, because it is a choice to approach this. And I'm so sorry, Mary, did you have any last minute takeaways? I know you've been on mute, so I wasn't sure if you were busy.
No, it's everything you've said. It's just been great. It's simple. It's to the point. I realize now how many buyers I had that just were just taking me in circles because they wouldn't get committed to getting pre-approved, or oh well, I think we're going to wait now, and it was just so It's so frustrating. And
So
so
frustrating.
this is so much more simple because that's what I was doing. And then now when I have a good buyer, it's awesome because they're in the driver's seat. They want to move forward. But
I love it.
those drove me crazy.
That gives me energy, Mary. And that's what we want. We want good, positive energy. So I want to thank everyone for being on this call today. If you have anybody in real estate that you love, that you like, that you work with, that would think that they would benefit from this style of coaching and education around the NAR settlement, please share it or mention something on social media or something. If you think there's someone out there that could really benefit, please send it out there, because the more the merrier. And plus, remember, all good things rise with the tide. We want more people thinking like this. Wouldn't you like more people around in your industry thinking like this, opposed to the old story? I sure would. That's the kind of office I want to work in. You know, those are kind of conversations I want to have. So again, it's 12:54. I want to be respectful of your time, guys. Thank you very, very much. You know, I love and honor all of you, and I will always, always stand in your greatness. You guys have a powerful day. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Did you have some forms someplace?
Yep,
Andrew?
I'm actually going to go ahead and attach the form to everyone, to the school, and then I'm going to see if I can email it out to everyone as well. But I will attach it to the school platform.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Awesome. Sounds
Awesome.
good. I'll see you guys.
See you.
Great. Thank you.
Bye.